YouTube finally responded to Sniperwolf doxing Jacksfilms, and honestly they would have been better off doing nothing. Which sounds extreme until you hear about the ways they participated in victim blaming in order to do ultimately nothing. For a quick refresher, Jack has spent the past year criticizing Sniperwolf for her exploitative and lazy content.
Random graphic that adds nothing and says something that makes no sense. Gamers, we have a fucking bingo, let's go.
That is too much.
Okay, there's no credit.
Where she basically steals money from creators in order to fill her own pockets. This is done mainly through reaction videos where ultimately she provides no commentary and just restates whatever's happening.
Oh, the wiper is the perfect length. It is the length of the window. They were made for each other.
And while Sniperwolf initially lashed out with personal attacks, this eventually escalated to her doxing Jacksfilms by showing up to his home and posting a video of the front to her 5+ million Instagram followers while trying to goad him into coming out.
In my 17 years on YouTube, I've never once had someone come to my home and vaguely threaten me.
And in response to this, the creator community has been pissed, as this is obviously a line that shouldn't be crossed in response to criticism. But while those creators were calling for Sniperwolf to be banned from YouTube, her and her sisters repeatedly gloated about the events. The next day, she posted a story to her Instagram with her sister saying, "We show up to your house. What are you doing?" With her sister even threatening violence against Jack. And while Sniperwolf didn't lose many subscribers from YouTube directly, this still became a PR nightmare for her, with people digging up clips from her past that don't look great, including inappropriate interactions with minors.
Damn, you got enough money at Hooters to like get fake titties. I didn't know they pay that good. You seem way too excited to show me.
As well as clips that many deemed offensive.
How dare I not ask you what you identify as? Assume my gender? How dare you? Do you see my pink purse? My pink purse is my gender.
Okay, that's in the past. What is so important that I felt the need to make another video on this when I could be swinging through New York instead? Well, Sniperwolf and YouTube have finally both responded to this controversy, and oh my god, it is terrible. And up until this point, it seemed like YouTube was planning to do nothing about this, just kind of letting it die down, not wanting to lose the millions of dollars that Sniperwolf generates for them. But public pressure apparently forced them to act, and honestly, they would have been better off doing nothing, which sounds extreme, but let's go over this statement. Confirming Sniperwolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk, harm our community, and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. So just to really get this fresh in your head, Sniperwolf leaked Jack's address to millions of people, and there is a precedent for people dying due to getting doxxed and people resorting to horrific violence because of a delusional fantasy that they've baked with a female creator. So her actions could have gotten him killed. There is precedent for that, and this response is terrible. Let's go over why. First, temporary monetization suspension. Are you kidding me? She's a multi-millionaire. She is one of the richest people on the internet. A temporary monetization? Dude, like if I lost monetization for 3 months, that would be devastating because I'm a small creator. But she has millions of dollars. I'm sure she'll be upset, but are you serious? This does nothing to her. Like really think about this. If she has, let's say, 20 million to her name, what does this do if, say, a year from now, she's going to be making money the same exact way? Especially since there's nothing stopping her from doing sponsorships with willing brands, since that makes more money than AdSense anyway. Like, I can't stress enough how bad of a precedent this is, where a large creator can dox someone and ultimately suffer no consequences, because the richest creators, guess what? They're the ones who hurt the least from losing monetization temporarily. And it's also weird to me that YouTube doesn't specify how long this is going to be for. Like, to me, that seems very non-committal. Like they're trying to test the water to see if they can get away with a month, or if they might have to do 3 to really teach her a lesson this time. Are you kidding me? Like, what this reminds me of is the idea of like parking tickets not meaning anything to the wealthy, so they can just put their car wherever they want. Because a $200 parking ticket's enough for you or me to drive around the block a few times and find a legal spot. But if you're a billionaire, it doesn't matter. Just put your car wherever you want. You can afford that like it's nothing. This feels a lot like that to me. And I want to reread the worst part of this statement. The behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Fuck off. Let's really review this for a second. Jack criticized her. That is all he did. He criticized her for stealing money from people in a way that YouTube allows and encourages, which is still nuts to me. Like, reaction content in most forms is so exploitative, yet YouTube openly encourages it every opportunity they get. Yet somehow that is equated to actions that could have gotten someone killed? Off. Like, it really worries me to see that being equated. And I somewhat get the take of like, oh, Jack wouldn't let up, he put her in a corner, eventually she was gonna do something. I get where that's coming from, but also, if you see someone doing genuine harm and you're in a position to do something about it, wouldn't you? Like, Spider-Man 2 just came out. If you need a reminder of what to do with great power, Sniperwolf, you might want to give it a try. In fact, the backlash to this post was so great that the term both sides ended up trending on Twitter, as well as the terms temporary Jacksfilms and SSSniperwolf. People are pissed. And this worries me a lot as a commentary creator because YouTube seems to be planting the seeds to possibly eliminate that genre eventually, which sounds extreme, but hear me out. One, while I do strongly feel that React content in most forms is unethical, I do feel that if YouTube were to crack down on it, that could be abused in order to punish commentary creators that do fall under fair use. But that's not really related to this. Rather, what is the conversation about commentary being bullying, where large creators will not like being criticized, as we can obviously see with Sniperwolf, and lash out against commentary creators. For example, in response to Cody Co criticizing him, Jake Paul cornered him in public and made Cody think he was getting jumped.
Are you trying to find me?
What up, fam?
Be nice.
I don't want to fight. No.
And we already don't get protected for this. Fine, whatever, what are you gonna do? But if YouTube starts to see criticism as bullying and sees criticism on the same level as attempted murder, debatably, what's stopping them from eliminating all commentary or all videos that seek accountability? This also reminds me of YouTube removing dislikes. While they say it was for small creators, I would bet anything on the fact that they actually removed it because dislikes were repeatedly being used to embarrass corporations in response to anti-consumer practices. And Sniperwolf put out a statement shortly after YouTube's, like, suspiciously quickly, but let's read the statement to see what narrative she's trying to spin right now. Let me start by saying I'm sorry for my recent actions. It is inexcusable. I'm sorry to Jacksfilm, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. Jacksfilm, while we certainly don't see eye to eye and have our differences, I am sorry for reacting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately. Not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it, respect the decision, and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. Okay, I'm gonna sound nitpicky, but doesn't that statement feel like really passive aggressive? It feels really passive aggressive. One, she spells his name wrong. It's not Jacksfilm, it's Jacksfilms, which I know seems like a nitpick, but really think about this. If she's trying to make the narrative that she was driven to react so horribly because of the pressure he put on her,
this dude is just like low-key harassing me. Like, should I get a restraining order?
wouldn't she know how to spell his name? I know how to spell Illuminati's dumbass spelling. You're telling me you don't know Jacksfilms? Like, to me, that either feels like a passive aggressive dig, like calling someone by the wrong name, or if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, it's just lazy and sloppy. It makes the statement feel even more insincere. Is that not weird? And there's one part of this that reads like a dig to me. Now, let's be fair, when you write something in a text, tone is really hard to get. It can be really hit or miss, but I have a hard time not reading this as a dig, where she says, I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately. Not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. It feels like at the end of that sentence, there's a hidden, like, unlike Jacksfilms, which again, I'm speculating, I'm fully admitting that. It just feels weird to me though, especially when previously she's insisted that his only motivation for criticizing her is views.
Wah. I can't stand that a female YouTuber is getting more views than me.
So for her to use that terminology in this way, it does feel like a dig to me, especially when she hasn't posted about this to YouTube, so how could she be referring to herself when she says just doing it for views? But again, I'm not saying that was definitely her intention. Please don't sue me, SSSniperwolf, I'd be screwed. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of saying publicly like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to him, balls in your court, because now that puts pressure on him to publicly forgive her for something that's unforgivable. I don't know. I admit it's a situation where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, but it rubs me the wrong way. You can disagree and that's fine. I also love the idea of Sniperwolf saying like, thanks for holding me accountable, as if she wasn't openly gloating about this. Sniperwolf, we know you're not like a sincere person. We know you suck. It's too late. You took the mask off, dude. Though I do want to take a quick moment to touch upon this idea of like off-platform conduct, because many people, including myself, have been critical of instances where what happens in one's private life is used to sink their career, despite the two things being completely unrelated. Well, this is completely different. Like, there's a big difference between being kinda scummy and using the publicity and fame you gained from YouTube in order to enact harm on someone. YouTube would be enabling her if they did nothing. Well, YouTube is enabling her by doing nothing, my mistake. And unsurprisingly, the creator reception to this whole mess has been horrible because again, people are pissed. No one wants for this to be normalized. No one wants for this to be deemed okay, and that seems to be exactly what's happening. With Philip DeFranco saying, both sides is wild. Dark Viper AU saying, temporary suspension. Behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. They really didn't want to do anything. What behavior did Jack do? Live in a house? Criticize Sniperwolf? Are you gonna make criticism of your favorite creators against terms of service? Meat Canyon responded, now Sniperwolf, we're gonna have to give you a weekend of no money, okay? We know this is excessive, but take that weekend vacation to truly think about what you've done. Also, please RSVP ASAP to be a featured creator of VidCon next year. Thanks, sweetie. And no, he's not exaggerating. There's a reason I call Sniperwolf YouTube's golden child, which is that they constantly feature her in media and promote her content, ultimately legitimizing a creator that steals from people to make a fortune. And even one of Jacksfilms' editors weighed in saying, YouTube basically wrote that it's okay to dox if you're a big enough creator. The platform is no longer safe. Also, behavior from both creators. Bro, one person was trying to make sure people got credited and another committed a felony. Like, huh? And even Jacksepticeye weighed in saying, wait, both sides? Criticism and parody are not the same thing as doxing, which Jack's wife Erin, Sniperwolf's other victim, also retweeted. And Jacksepticeye weighing in on this is kind of a big deal because he does tend to be pretty averse to drama.
I get that you like drama and gossip and everybody loves a fight and everyone loves seeing like a team go against each other on our side versus yours. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter all that much. No. Even if people did hate each other, it's like, does it matter?
But this whole situation has huge implications for every creator, which is why they're all weighing in. Like, YouTube is gaining a lot of points with Sniperwolf right now, but every other creator feels a little less safe now. Erin has also retweeted several other statements, including one aimed at Sniperwolf's sister, reading, also looking forward to seeing if Sniperwolf's sister will also release a public apology for threatening violence to Jack, continuing to harass him, tell people to look up his address, and then insulting the people who called her out. And no, none of that is an exaggeration. She directly threatens him with statements like, does he not know how to fight? And why is he so afraid of a 110-pound girl? And straight up told people to look up his address on Google. So while it already seemed like Jack wouldn't forgive Sniperwolf, yeah, that's making it look even more unlikely. Erin also eventually tweeted out, but think about the shareholders, clearly showing dissatisfaction at YouTube's inaction. And for now, that's the only statement from either Erin or Jack. And I think this is one of those moments that illustrates the problem with YouTube having such a strong monopoly, because none of us like it, but what are we gonna do? Go to Facebook? Come on, be serious. Though at least I'm most likely done talking about this, and I just have to hope that nothing happens to me for criticizing Sniperwolf, which I know sounds paranoid, but based on how she handles critics, you never know. Yeah, it's about right.